So, what up, operators? What up, hitters? And what's up, my peeps? MatrixNative here. And I hope today finds you very well and healthy. I know we've been going through some extraordinary historic times as of late. Some of us got to be out there helping the folks out in the good old John Q public. So whether you're out or whether you're quarantined, I hope today finds you healthy and your family healthy. Let's remember, social distancing is working. And don't believe all these fucking videos of people going in hospitals and stating that they're empty, that this is all some big conspiracy. Because trust me, if you've been on the front lines or if you've been in a hospital, you know that is not the case. So with that being said, today's video, we're going to hop on them hitters that decon everybody in the United States military. It will be a short history today. However, I will be backtracking on some history, builds, role play, all that stuff. So before the video starts today, I know I don't say it enough, I appreciate everyone's support. Whether you're an old sub, new sub, you know that sometimes duty calls and I'm not able to post as often as I would like to. With that being said, I want to give big shouts out to Black Rifle Coffee Company and Nitrado server and modifications for the ongoing support of our channel here. With that being said, operators, take a seat. Let's start track-a-lacking on some of this history. Okay, I might have fibbed a little bit. Before we get to the history and build today, we're going to go ahead and fire one up, boys. Fire what up, you might ask? Well, right today, we got a little grizzly long cut. So if you got a can handy, go ahead and fire it up. Of course, that's if you're of age. Let's go. Satisfaction. 100%. After the go juice, throwing a lipper. Nothing like it in the world. To this day, I always enjoy that first lipper after the go juice. All right, let's track. So the 74DR Delta MOS, for you fucking civs out there, that's military occupational skill, is the Army classification. Now, hold on all you leathernecks. I believe the MOS for the Corps is a 5711, as well as it's called some shit like the Scientific Applications Specialist for the Air Force. Not really sure what you Navy boys got, but if you want to go ahead and ring it out in the comments, we can learn something here today. Anyways, tracking. It's the MOS for the Army classification, Marine, and Air Force, probably Navy, for a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear specialist. You might hear me refer to that as simply the acronym CBRN, Charlie Bravo Romeo November. These individuals are highly trained soldiers who can work in any environment. They are trained to handle all types of weapon threats as well as decontamination, or again, you might hear me refer to it as decon, hazardous material spills or accidents within hospitals where radiation might leak out, or medicines or fuels, you know, like chemical type fuels, as well as, Lord forbid, biological or nuclear releases. And let's not forget about these pesky little viruses that can slip into the human race. So there are over 200 countries in the world with some form of chemical weapon of mass destruction. Obviously, WMDs. Through their treaties around the world banning these weapons, there have been cases of people and countries using chemical weapons in Syria, in Iraq. There have also been cases of anthrax attacks in the United States and Russia. Pretty much just accidental releases of sarin gas in Japan, as well as other methods and agents. Other agents include the use of fentanyl, mustard gas, sulfur, and chlorine, to name some of the deadliest attacks in over the past 20 years. CBRN specialists protect the country from the threat of weapons of mass destruction. The weapons they train to detect and protect against include any weapons of a chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear type. The 74 Delta MOS specialists use planning and highly sophisticated equipment and coordinated defense systems. They work in support of joint and combined armed operations. The CBRN specialists serve on biological integrated detection teams, Stryker, NBC's reconnaissance platoons, technical escort battalions, special forces, and ranger units. They are trained to manage, train, and maintain the standards of protective gear of fellow soldiers and Marines, airmen, and sailors. This equipment is used in the event of a CBRN threat on the battlefield. Again, CBRN, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear specialist. CBRN. Systems that a CBRN specialist may use include CBRN reconnaissance systems, biological agent detection systems, basically BIDS, B-I-D-S, obstruction systems that hide movements or defeat enemy targeting, CBRN decontamination systems, and other CBRN hazard detections and warning systems. So at least Army soldiers must attend AIT and pre-SIBS, that's Advanced Individual Training, at the U.S. Army Chemical School in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, where they will be exposed while wearing NBC protective gear to toxic agents in a decon facility. Part of this time is spent in the classroom and in the field. CBRN specialists are trained to deal with WMDs, including the defense against a WMD, as well as response and decon procedures in the case of a chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear event. Yes, it's a tongue twister. This training includes the use of CBRN decontaminations, defense, detection, and monitoring equipment. Specialists are trained in the wear and use of the protective equipment during exposure to these toxic agents. The CBRN specialist learns proper defense actions and procedures, as well as hazardous materials certification at the awareness level. Preps for CBRN defense actions and procedures, wears and utilizes all of the MOPP protective gear. Hazardous materials certification, exposure to toxic agents while wearing CBRN protective equipment. As stated. To become a 74D, you should have scored at least 100 on the ST of the ASVAB. Upon entry level, MOS 75 Delta, you do not need security clearance. However, as you advance and find yourself in more of a leadership role, a clearance of secret will be required. It is very physically demanding as well as tedious to thoroughly decontaminate an area of any hazmat material. CBRN specialists are required to have normal color vision. Again, you don't have to have perfect vision, but you really can't be colorblind. You got to have that normal color vision. Now, I was going to throw in a little civilian action with this history. However, we're just going to go ahead and save that for another video. That will be coming out soon. So let's go ahead and track on these dudes in the military that actually have to mop up in this shit, because I'm telling you, when you get that MOPP gear on, it is no fun, as stated in the upcoming section. So now we're going to track to all my military personnel out there who have ever donned the motherfucking MOPP gear. And if you know what I'm talking about, the decon, then you know exactly that that shit is nothing but a pain in the butt to wear. So let's hit it. MOPP, basically an acronym for Mission Oriented Protective Posture, pronounced MOPP. Just like you grab that damn mop and you go fucking hit the goddamn latrine before that first formation, is basically a protective gear used by the U.S. military personnel in a toxic environment, such as during a chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear strike. The CBRN just said it. Chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear defense. So it's CBRN. Now, we usually break that down into parts, right? So you got your protective mask, you got your mask carrier, your overgarments, usually some kind of detection paper, whether it be an M9 detector paper or something, is also worn, as well as your gloves and your overboots commonly referred to, or should I say affectionately referred to, as your rubber booties, huh? So your pro mask, or whatever you want to call it, the protective mask, commonly referred to as just a gas mask, or like I just said, I've heard it commonly referred to as pro mask. It is designated to filter harmful chemical and biological agents as well as eradicated type particles from the air to allow the wearer to breathe safely. No protective mask filters out gases such as carbon dioxide. And in situations requiring that level of protection, external breathing apparatus is usually employed in that case, in the case of carbon monoxide. Again, the silent killer. And don't think a little charcoal over your mouth is going to keep you safe from the old carbon monoxide. Then you'll have a mask carrier. Basically, it's what you throw your pro mask in, or your protective mask, or your gas mask. Protects the mask from basic damage. It is usually worn as part of your battle rattle for easy access, as usually contains a technical manual, usually some extra filters, some extra charcoal filters, shit like that, chemical detection papers, and nerve agent antidote kits. Basically your NAAK. Now, I gotta be honest with you, the nerve agent antidote kits, they're also an entropy pen. So basically, if you're exposed to nerve agent, you just take out a pen, you pull the cap off, and you stick it. You got to clear your freaking cargo pockets, then you just jam it in your thigh. And that's a true story. I'll also tell you another true story one of them freaking SF hitters told me. And that's basically, it's just a cleaner way to die. I'll be honest with you. I said it. There it is. Basically, you got to rinse and repeat if the first one doesn't, clear up some of your nerve agent symptoms, such as vomiting, just uncontrollable bleeding from your ears and your nose. Yeah, it's some serious shit. So the second and the third shot is basically to send you to freaking on your way and make you rest easy without going through the torment and pain of being exposed to said nerve agent. Then you got your overgarments, your JS list, right? Your joint service lightweight integrated suit technology, specifically designed clothing to be worn over your normal uniform. These garments are designed to allow maximum airflow for cooling. Wait. That's too funny. These garments are designed to allow maximum airflow for cooling while keeping chemical and biological agents from reaching the skin of the wearer. Now, if you ever been up in MOPP 4, that's the booties, the suit, just everything, right? You fucking know fucking damn well that there ain't no cooling effect to it. Some are equipped with a charcoal lining to neutralize some agents. Military personnel often equip overgarments with strips of M9 detection paper to identify chemical agents on the battlefield that might come in contact with. The M9 detector paper is worn to detect chemical liquid agents that a service member may brush up against while in the MOPP gear. It is worn in 3 different areas of the suit. It is worn on the dominant arm, bicep area, on the wrist of the opposite arm, and on the dominant leg shin area. It is also placed on the lower levels of vehicles for detection purposes, right? Let's not talk about that entropy pin any freaking more. So then you got your gloves and your booties, or gloves and overboots. Basically, they're just high durable rubber designed with combat operations in mind, used to prevent contact with certain nerve agents, or in general just agents. Now, I've said this before. Let me tell you something. And this is shooting it straight with you, okay? When they used to mop us up, I'm not going to say that I never took my filters out during training so you could breathe easier, right? They have these canisters that you can basically take out, and you can actually pull the charcoal filter out. Hence, when you need to replace your charcoal filter, you would pull it out and insert the other ones. However, you could pull that charcoal filter out, secure it back to your gas mask, and guess what? You ain't breathing nothing but air. Oxygen, baby. Ain't no charcoal filtering out anything. However, you're going to get smoke aloked and probably get dropped from any kind of high speed, or really, I don't know, you might get dropped from basic, but I don't think in basic you're going to be doing that shit, no set and shit, right? Because, you're not with it at that point. However, you will get dropped from any kind of high speed program if they catch you cheating like that. So, let's just remind you of that. Also, these freaking alarms. Now, I don't know what you guys use these days, but back in my day, these motherfuckers would go off every freaking minute. We finally pulled the radio out because, I mean, every other minute. We would just sleep in our charcoal suits, you know, our booties, our gloves, because trust me, when that alarm went out on the fucking perimeter, you were just like, Jesus, not a fucking again. And it came to a point where we just like, fuck it. If he's going to do it, he's going to do it, and we're going to die. That's it. Because we were sick of jumping up and down. Then one of my compadres said, hey man, let's just take that fucking battery out. So that's exactly what we did. Now, I'm not saying when we first had boots on ground, when the probability of nuclear, biological, chemical was thought that, you know, Saddam was going to use it. However, he never did, right? He never did, and I was happy for that, and so were my amigos. So, at least not us, right? He definitely used it on the Kurdanians, my brother Kurds up there in the north, once we pulled out the first time, right? You know, that's a big fuck you to Saddam. That's also a big fuck you to the Bush administration for letting him do that, or really just pulling us out the first time anyway, just to go back and finish taking care of business. However, I just got to say, RIP to my brother Kurds up there, right? And before we get out of this little MOPP section of this video, I also want to ask you guys that are current, do you still have the spaghetti straps on those booties? Because that was a hot fucking mess trying to rope up them son of a bitches. Looked like mom's spaghetti when I was done with mine, right? And oh my God, MOPP is MOPP for me. Oh. Okay, hitters, we're at the end of another history. I wouldn't call today necessarily a history, or more of what it takes to become one of those decon hitters, because trust me, it does take a special person to not only don that MOPP gear, but actually wear it as a living. Operators, on your feet. Go ahead outside, smoke them if you got them, bar them if you don't. I'll see you back here in 5. We'll get on down range to the bed. Alright peeps, want to welcome you here. You're at Firebase Shrike here in our DayZ server. It's a PvE server, however, we are working on a PvP, but I'll be honest with you, I just love hanging out with my friends and chilling and building and, you know, designing. It's really pretty cool, and that's what we're really into, as you see here. So with the Firebase here, it's a converted fire station, obviously. Again, Firebase Shrike here, and again, we will be giving a tour of it here in an upcoming video. So today, let's go ahead and track on the NBC training as well as the build for today, right? So today, basically what we're going with, we're going to carry, obviously, I'm in a stand-down mode now. Don't plan on like getting a hot mission, direct action, anything like that. Basically, we're just standing down, and basically this is what we be wearing and carrying, except maybe the tack vest and the rucksack. So the rucksack here is called the Tortilla or the Tortuga rucksack on console. That's one of my favorite rucks here. It's kind of a medium type rucksack Alice pack, and it reminds me of what I wore during my time in service anyways. We'll go ahead and put that on today. I think it's called the Tortilla or the Tortuga on console if you're trying to get a hold of it. Plenty of them here in our server. Again, want to thank Nitrado for hooking me up with it. Now, from there, we got our regular, you know, BDU pants going on, battle dress uniform in the woodland. Obviously, I think you heard in the background, we got a couple of bears out here today. So I don't believe we'll be running into them, but if we do, we shall be prepared. Now here, I have my tactical belt here. Obviously, I have my sidearm, which once you're in the 75th Legion in the server, you are actually presented with the engraved Colt Commander 1911, which all you guys know is pretty much my nightstand pistola, right? And then we got our canteen and the hunting knife, which is also pretty viable in this world of DayZ. So tracking with that, we'll go ahead, throw that back on the waist here, and as you see, I just have a regular type t-shirt here, the khaki obviously. Now I think you could get away actually with just wearing the default t-shirt as well on this fit today. I believe that it goes really well either way. However, one drawback I've noticed to these t-shirts is they're not really tucked in, as you can see here. They're sort of untucked, which is sloppy. I mean, maybe if you're working, but you know, you got to keep your shit tucked in. Maybe Bohemian can help us out with that, right? Because I'm going to call it the way I see it, and that's very sloppy. Now, the tack vest, this is one of my favorite items to equip. The tactical vest, that's what I usually just hang out with here at the farm. And basically, as you can see, we have our .25 CS gas training canisters identified in the cardboard once we head down to the chamber and get our training on. Again, I carry a first aid pack with 4 bandages in it, and then this is yellow smoke. However, I would like to say something to Bohemia on this, and again, that's on console. I know PC is a different world entirely, but you really need to address the fact that there are 4 variations of signatures of plume smoke in this freaking game, and yet all the canisters are basically just non-marked. So you don't know if you have a yellow, you know, representing some kind of simulation, a red for evac pickup. So, you know, Bohemian, I'm going to call it like I see it, just like I did with Ubisoft, depending on, again, what platform that I'm actually giving you guys a build on. However, I think that that's actually something that Bohemian needs to look into, is somehow, you know, putting that signature up. Now, what I got slung for my primary today, obviously I have no secondary. Roscoe on the hip will be my secondary. So today I got the M4. Again, it's got the green, and I have the black buttstock rail and ACOG on it. The ACOG you really can't do anything about. It comes in the standard black, and I'm just tracking kind of hard on this fit. Again, this M4 right here is kind of exclusive to our server right now. I'm sure other servers have it, as long as they know how to mod up their server. Now, we do rewards here on the server. I have missions set up. If you pass it, you might actually get one of these sweet ass modded weapons. Not really modded so much as modded into the XML. So that's what I got going on with it. Obviously, I have the telescopic buttstock on it, the rail guard, so that then I can also put my universal flashlight on it. You do have a slot for a suppressor and a bayonet, either or on that. I don't really have my suppressor going now. There's bears around. I want all the accuracy and firepower that I can get out of that freedom seed, yeah? So with the ACOG, obviously, you can't change colors on it. These do come in the default black. And then I have my coupled 30 round mags at 30 seeds each, which gives me a totality of 60 rounds to go down range, 61 with one in the pipe. And also, let's remember that a common phrase for this coupled 30 round mag would be the mag, and I'll probably get a big fat strike for that. But anyway, that's what we got on the back today. Not really getting into a lot of weapons talk and stuff today, because really it's about the NBC gear today. Nuclear, biological, chemical. So with the tag vest, as you see here, as stated, we have our gas .25 simulator grenades. We'll go ahead and pull those out. Now, what you can do here, we're going to go ahead and I'll show you exactly how the functionality works on Daisy as far as smoke grenades go anyway. So we'll go ahead, and you see the little arrow there, you can just trip it up, and then we no longer have our attack vest, right? So we'll come over here, we'll go ahead and pull the pin. Should be yellow. Again, no identifying markers. And we'll go ahead and toss it, and with that we'll give the universal gas, gas, gas. So we got our gas mask here. We'll go ahead and do the functionality of it. You know, go ahead and clear it, making sure that we are only bringing in the oxygen. So we've cleared our mask. We got the smoke plume going just fine. As you can see, the wind is obviously blowing to the south, which is kind of cool. Again, you'll also notice on Daisy that there's really no mini-map at all, which makes it quite actually a unique and fun game. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead. We'll go ahead and give the all clear here. So all clear, all clear, all clear. Go ahead. take a pro mask off, and we will go ahead and hit the levels of MOPP. So again, let's go over the NBC protocol and preparation, which is basically 5 levels to a MOPP gear, right? 5 levels to MOPP. A lot of people think there's only 4. However, there are 5, and the first one being level 0, which is basically MOPP ready. So what you do is you'd have your mask on your hip, basically on the opposite side of your Roscoe. So I used to carry mine on my left hip, and then I would cross draw it so that I could go and pull it out and don it and clear it in a fast manner. Again, unless you're wearing a cross draw on a plate or something, then obviously you can put it on either side. So that would be MOPP level ready, and that's having your mask obviously in your mask carrier on your hip. Again, in your rucksack though, you're going to be carrying all your MOPP gear. So then we get the call, which we will go to MOPP level 1, which is nothing but an increased alert. However, we will have to don our protective top and bottom. So we'll go ahead, ground our gear, see if the game will actually cooperate. Go ahead, put our top on, our bottom on, and then we'll also go ahead and swap lids out. That way we are ready to go. So there it is. That's MOPP level 1, which is an increased alert. And then we're going to go ahead and basically it's for attack preparation or attack recovery. The troop will go ahead and simulate MOPP level 2. So MOPP level 2, basically all we do is just put on our booties, if you will. And there we're at MOPP level 2, and of course we're gonna go ahead and get storms now. However, we are not cupcakes, so we'll just drive on. MOPP level 3, basically troops must don overgarments, gas mask, and a hood and boot covers. So at this point we'll go ahead, don our mask, and be ready to go with that. We get the call for a MOPP level 4, which is obviously the highest level of MOPP, and might I add, probably the scariest as far as the pucker factors go. This level requires all overgarments, gas mask, hood, gloves, and boot covers to be worn as a chemical or biological threat is present in the area. So with that, we'll go ahead, put on our hoodie, put on our gloves, go ahead, recover our gear. So we got our gear recovered, so now we shall head into the chamber and see how our equipment is. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and ground our gear here outside the chamber. We don't want everything to necessarily get tear gas on it. And we'll just hold on to our weapon. So we got our gear grounded. The less things we got to decontaminate once we come out of here. Go ahead and close it up, and now we'll go ahead and get some tear gas going in here. Now in game you can actually hear the muffled sound of somebody wearing said mask. See if we can pick it up at all. Actually in game now I don't think there's any kind of difference at all, but we will see. And I'm currently talking through my mask. Okay, back in party again. You can see you get some pretty good plumes of smoke in here. So in basic training we basically had to take our mask off, breathe it in, take a nice breath of it, inhale it, and then we would usually, now when I went through, it was even darker than this. You basically would find your buddy and he'd find his buddy, and we'd all just get in the ranger file and find the door and walk out. A little bit of residual outside here. So go ahead, redon our mask, clear it. So in basic, and then sometimes after that, you know, I probably trained with actual tear gas and gas, you know, gosh, man, 20-25 times in my life. But basic was absolutely the worst. They had it smoked up, had it really really thick. It was an experience. And then when we came out, basically you would have to say something stupid like, you know, I'm flapping my arms and my eyes are wide open, Drill Sergeant, or some shit. But everybody was snotting it out, and just it was miserable. I will tell you that. Now, basically FFT, Field Force Training, I was involved in, you know, just basically we just had to don the pro mask and stuff. Not really get into any kind of NBC gears you see me wearing here. However, this is a real thing and it's a real threat. So with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Go ahead, if you hadn't, go ahead, snipe the like, snipe the sub. I'll see you next video with this game we call DayZ. Who knows, we might go back to memory lane down with Ghost Recon sometimes. Anyway, stay healthy out there, peeps. I'll catch you next video, cause that's how we roll.